It was always cold in that hallway, even in the summer. Jamal never figured out why. Maybe it was the way the wind sneaked through the cracked windows, or how the tile floor never held warmth. Either way, it became his regular spot, a corner, behind the apartment dumpsters on 53rd Street in Chicago, right between a broken fence and a worn-out pizza joint. He was only 8 when everything truly fell apart. His mom, Claudia, had died from a seizure in her sleep. One minute she was singing in the kitchen with her gold hoop swinging, and the next, Jamal was staring at paramedics trying to bring her back. She never woke up. That was when his father Marvin remarried a woman named Rhonda from Birmingham. She came in smiling with her 2 kids, IVT and Jerome. But it didn't take long before that smile turned into snarls. Jamal went from being a grieving child to a living servant. Rhonda made it clear he wasn't one of them. The food in the fridge? Not for him. Clothes from the laundry? Not his to wash unless it was everyone else's. He became their maid, dry cleaner, cook, janitor, and errand boy. She'd wake him up at 5:59 to mop the floors before school and yell if the lines weren't perfectly straight. At night, she'd dump greasy dishes on the counter and tell him to get to scrubbing while her kids played video games. And Marvin, his own father, just sat in his recliner watching football like none of it was happening. For years passed like that. From age 8 to 12, Jamal lived on crumbs, slept on a thin blanket in the laundry room, and learned how to go unnoticed. But the hunger was the worst. Days would go by where he had nothing but tap water and stale crackers if he was lucky. Sometimes, he'd sneak leftovers from the trash if Rhonda's kids didn't finish their meals. One Tuesday afternoon, Jamal stood outside the train stations waiting for nothing. He had skipped school again. His stomach growled like a lion, sharp, hollow, unforgiving. His shirt was stained with old sweat and something from lunch 2 days ago. His shoes had holes in both soles, and his socks didn't match. His hair hadn't been combed in weeks, matted in places, and dry. He looked like a shadow of a kid, the kind people walked past without seeing. That's when he saw her, a black woman, in her mid-50s, skin deep like mahogany with gray-streaked braids pulled into a neat bun and forearms, strong from years of lifting crates and peeling produce. Her hands looked like they'd worked every day of their life, but her eyes were soft. Her name was Miss Gloria. She ran a little fruit stand, 2 blocks down, just a folding table on the corner. No canopy, no bells or whistles. She sold apples, oranges, pineapples, and cucumbers. Nothing fancy, just fresh stuff arranged in neat piles with handwritten price tags taped to the edges. She used cardboard boxes for storage and old milk crates to prop up the table. Some days she played gospel music low on a Bluetooth speaker. That day, she noticed him. She saw the way Jamal stared at the apples like they were gold bars behind glass. She watched him linger, shifting from foot to foot, pretending not to look too long. Her voice cut through the street noise, calm, low, and rich with a southern drawl. "Boy, when's the last time you ate?" Jamal shrugged, eyes falling to the sidewalk. Shame clung to him like sweat. Without a word, she reached into the pocket of her apron and pulled out a neatly folded $20 bill. It was soft from use, but still good. She handed it to him like it wasn't even a question. "Here," she said. "Go get yourself a real meal and come see me tomorrow. I'm here every day." Jamal blinked like someone had just performed magic. His voice cracked when he asked, "Why?" Miss Gloria smiled, small and knowing. "Because I was hungry once too," she said. "Now go before I change my mind." And that was the beginning. Every day Jamal came back to Miss Gloria's stand, and every day she handed him a $20 bill like it was routine. Some days she added an apple, sometimes a banana, once even a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in foil. Other times, she slipped him a cold bottle of water on the hot days or a pair of clean socks when she saw his toes peeking through his shoes. She never asked too many questions, never demanded he explain himself, never told him to clean up or call her ma'am. She just gave, consistently, unconditionally, with no strings and no pity. Over time, he started to look forward to more than just the money. Their little sidewalk chats became his daily warmth. She'd talk about her younger days growing up in rural Georgia, how she raised 3 kids on her own after her husband left, how she hated traffic and loved gospel quartets. She swore strawberries were heaven sent but couldn't stand the texture of peaches. Jamal never forgot her laugh, deep, chesty, the kind that made strangers turn and smile. It reminded him of the kind of joy he hadn't felt in years. He started calling her Miss G, and she didn't correct him. For years, he held on to those memories like gold coins in a secret pocket, even after he turned 13 and finally ran away from the place he called home, even after nights on shelter cots and cold stairwells, even after hustling for change and working odd jobs at gas stations. He carried Miss Gloria's kindness in his heart like armor. At 16, he borrowed a busted school laptop, barely working, and started watching videos on YouTube in the public library. He learned basic coding, HTML, JavaScript, how websites were built. Then one night, he stumbled across a video on cybersecurity, how systems get hacked, how they're protected, how firewalls work. Something clicked. He became obsessed with locks, not just the metal ones, the digital ones. Passwords, encryption, backdoors, how people broke in and how they could be stopped. The idea of protecting something, of keeping danger out, fascinated him. It was like learning how to build a home that no one could kick him out of. By 19, Jamal had taught himself how to code. Not from school, he never had money for that. It was all late nights at the public library, stealing Wi-Fi outside cafes and watching free tutorials on a cracked old laptop someone had thrown away. He practiced by breaking down websites and building them back up one broken line of code at a time. He started picking up small gigs online, helping local hotels secure their booking systems, removing viruses from family-owned shops' computers, installing cheap digital locks in sketchy motels that couldn't afford real security. He even started designing his own lock system. He called it SafeSnap, a smart lock system that could detect forced entry attempts, send alerts to the homeowner's phone, and contact authorities in under 10 seconds. It was simple, clean, and effective. He didn't have a company yet, just a vision and hunger. By 23, after saving every dime and living like he was still broke, Jamal had enough money to register a business. Nothing fancy, just a name, a basic logo he made himself, and a simple website where people could see how the lock worked. No office, no staff, just him working from the corner of a friend's couch. He started reaching out to investors, emailing every address he could find, filling out online forms, sliding into LinkedIn inboxes, cold calling companies that barely answered the phone. He even went to networking events where he knew no one, just to shake hands. 90% of the time, they ignored him. Some hung up, some called him ambitious, but not in a good way. A few straight up laughed in his face, said he needed a team, said his idea would never scale, said he looked too young, too broke. But 2 people didn't laugh. One was a woman named Hannah, an investor from Seattle who'd grown up poor and saw something in Jamal that reminded her of the little brother she once lost. The other was Tund, a Nigerian-British entrepreneur in London who had built to tech startups from scratch and respected grit more than a fancy resume. They both told Jamal the same thing: "We believe in you." And then they backed it up with real money, enough capital to help Jamal manufacture units, build inventory, and market his idea to real buyers. Then everything changed. Hotels started. placing orders for SafeSnap in bulk, dozens at a time. Apartment complexes in Chicago and Miami followed. Word of mouth spread fast. Homeowners wanted peace of mind. Jamal gave them that. The product was good. The support was better. SafeSnap blew up in under 2 years. It went from a side hustle in his bedroom to a 7-figure business. Jamal hired 5 people, then 10. He moved into a condo downtown, bought a used car, got a decent bed. And for once, he didn't have to wonder where his next meal was coming from. But even with money in the bank and his face in magazines, his mind didn't go to his father. It didn't go to Rhonda or Marvin or any of the people who let him down. It went to Miss Gloria. He hadn't seen her in years, but he never forgot her kindness. The way she looked at him like he mattered. The way she always had $20 ready like clockwork just so he wouldn't starve. He owed her everything. He searched for her fruit stand. It took 3 weeks and a lot of walking. It had moved 3 blocks down, a little closer to the intersection now, but it looked the same. Old wooden crates, stacked with apples and cucumbers. Pineapples on a folding table, a hand-painted sign that just said, "Fresh fruits." And there she was, still standing, still selling, still smiling. She didn't recognize him at first. "Can I help you, young man?" she asked, adjusting her scarf. He smiled. "You already did." 20 years ago, she tilted her head, squinting. Then her hand flew to her mouth. "Jamal," she whispered. He nodded. Miss Gloria's eyes filled with tears. "Look at you. You got taller and clean. Lord have mercy." They hugged right there on the sidewalk. Cars passed, people stared. Neither of them noticed. The next day, Jamal picked her up and took her to lunch, not fast food, a real sit-down place, white tablecloths. She ordered catfish and sweet tea. He told her everything about Rhonda, the hunger, coding until sunrise, the investors' SafeSnap. She didn't interrupt. She just listened, her iced tea sweating in her hand. When he finished, he looked at her and said, "I didn't come back just to say thanks. I came back to change your life." "What you mean?" she asked, her voice low. Jamal reached into his leather bag and pulled out a folder. Inside were real estate papers, a business license, bank statements, and a set of car keys. "I bought you a store, Miss G, not a stand, a real grocery store, with walls, lights, and a freezer section. It's already stocked. All the licenses are done. You won't have to haul crates anymore. You've got staff now." She blinked fast, not saying a word. "And there's more," he added. "I bought you a house. 5 minutes away. No rent, no bills. And this," he held up the keys. "This is your car. Parked outside." Miss Gloria dropped her fork. "Boy, don't play with me." "I'm not," he said gently, taking her hand. "You gave me $20 every single day. When I had nothing, few fed me when the world forgot I existed. You didn't ask for anything in return, but I kept count. That's over $7,000, and now I'm giving it back 10 times over." Miss Gloria started crying, not loud, just soft, steady sobs. She covered her face, whispering, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you." Word spread fast in the neighborhood. The store opened 4 weeks later with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The sign above. The entrance said Miss G's Fresh Market in bold white letters. Inside, it had everything: fruit, vegetables, frozen meals, snacks, even a smoothie bar. Every employee got free lunch. Jamal made sure of that. Miss Gloria wore new clothes now, long skirts, soft cardigans, and gold earrings. She had a glow, a peace, the kind of peace you earn, not borrow. People came by just to see her smile. Kids dropped in after school to hug her. She became a legend on that block. People didn't just shop there, they belonged there. But the story didn't stop. Rhonda found out. So did Marvin and his half-siblings Ivy and Jerome. They saw Jamal on a talk show talking about Safe Snap. His photo was on screen. Suit fresh, haircut clean, smile wide. The headline said, "From Street to CEO, How One Man Beat the Odds." Rhonda choked on her coffee. Marvin dropped his beer can. The It Kids went silent. A week later, they showed up at Jamal's office. Marvin wore a forced smile. Rhonda looked nervous, but tried to act warm. "We're proud of you, son," Marvin said. Jamal didn't smile back. "Funny," he said. Arms folded, suit sharp, voice steady. "I don't remember you ever being proud. Not when I was starving. Not when I cleaned toilets for food. Not when your wife treated me like dirt." Rhonda opened her mouth, but Jamal held up a hand. "I'm not here to fight. I've moved on. I forgive you. But don't think for a second you're getting a piece of this." Their smiles faded. "I came out of hell. The only angel I met was a woman selling pineapples. She gave me hope. You gave me nothing. So let's not pretend." They left without saying much. I've messaged him once trying to apologize. Jamal saw it, then deleted it. He didn't need revenge, he had peace. Jamal kept building. SafeSnap went global. He hired kids from group homes, ran free coding classes at the local center every Saturday. But Sundays, that was Miss Gloria's time. He'd sit with her on her porch, sipping lemonade, just talking. One day she looked at him and said, "You know, what I've learned." "What's that?" "That kindness don't cost much, but it pays big." Jamal smiled. "It saved my life." And in a world that forgets the hungry, the poor, the small voices, one black woman with a folding table and a bag of fruit changed everything. Not because she had much, but because she gave what she had.